I'm going to cross to the US in just a moment and catch up with Elika LeBon, who's the attorney and public advocate. But first, I want to have a look at, I want you to see some of this reaction online. Leftists celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
See that Charlie Kirk just got shot and killed?
That's good. Girl, someone had to do it.
He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
Yeah, he's a I'm like, yeah, he's an you know?
He's you got what you deserve. I'm sorry. You're a bad person. Bad things happen to bad people. Celebrate it. It should happen more often. Not death necessarily, but like karma, big fan of it.
Extraordinary stuff. It fills me with despair, particularly when the hatred and the bile is coming from so many young people. As I put it to Elika LeBon, this is surely the antithesis of what a civilised society should be.
Yeah, and you know, this is something that we've been predicting for several years now, especially most prominently after October 7th, when it was very clear, and what we were trying to articulate is the fact that this doesn't just stop at celebrating the murder of Jews and Israelis, because this is actually part of a much bigger war that nobody seems to be noticing, which is a war on the West. And that war on the West intentionally has been indoctrinating young minds to believe that there is this system, right? There is this system between oppressed and oppressors, and oppressors are people that have to be killed. And of course, what makes somebody an oppressor is just arbitrarily assigned. It is whoever represents the values that the West has, which is primarily people who are Jewish and also people who challenge the views of the radical leftists. And so what this has sort of instilled, these notions have instilled in their minds, is that not only are these people who disagree with me just wrong, but their words are so harmful that they actually have to be purged. Right. And so what we're entering now is this totally dystopian phase of the purge. And the craziest thing about it all is that people still haven't woken up to it.
Yeah, it is just so terrible. It comes to this framing of your opponents in debate, in the contest of ideas, as evil and dehumanising them. I suppose there's one, ray of sunshine, one silver lining, in that there have been prominent figures on the left who have disagreed with Charlie Kirk but have expressed their outrage. Now, this should be common. This shouldn't stand out as it does, but no doubt it does. Yeah. And one of the leading people there was Dean Withers, who was, if you like, a rival of Charlie Kirk's, a liberal left rival in the podcasting world. Have a listen to him.
If you want to end gun violence, it is something that you can never celebrate. It is always disgusting, always vile, and always abhorrent. It should come as no shock to yourself when I tell you that I think Charlie Kirk was a bad person. I've made that very clear over the last year, but does that mean I think he deserves to lose his life? No.
Well, that's what you'd expect from everyone, wouldn't you, Elika?
Yeah, I mean, I even think, just sort of reiterating this thing that, I think he's a bad person is sort of just feeding into the same thing. He's a person who you don't understand, just like you're a person that he doesn't understand. But I think, when we see, we have seen condemnations from a lot of people on the left. We've seen a lot of condemnations from, Democratic Party leaders, but I think this actually proves that the chasm between the party and the people has widened so much that even when you have Democratic leaders or influential people that are willing to come out and condemn this, what you're still seeing is so many people on the left who are celebrating it, and just shows that the values that even the Democratic Party leaders may still are so disparate and so far apart from the values of the young generation now. And that is because of exactly all of these things that we've been talking about, which is that this is a mindset.
Yep.
It always starts with a mindset. It's a mindset that is nurtured in universities. It is a mindset that is nurtured in friend groups, in social circles. And it all goes back, and I always bring it back to the same thing. It all goes back to the Soviet disinformation war that occurred during the Cold War, which the primary motivation of that war was to convince people inside the West to turn against themselves, to turn against the United States and Israel primarily. And that mindset is something that we've allowed to germinate to such an extent that the young generation genuinely believe that the way to a better future and to humanity is to eliminate oppressors. And the question at this point is how many more killings of oppressors, right? Because we had the CEO of the health insurance company, Brian Thompson.
Yes.
We had the 2 people that were killed for being Zionists. We had the Wall Street shootings. We had the Molotov cocktail thrown at somebody just for saying bring them home, which also killed them. And now we have Charlie Kirk. How many more times are we going to witness this purging of oppressors from the people that say, you know what, these people are causing harm and they don't deserve to live, whilst actively causing the very harm that they're lamenting?
Yeah, and the labelling of oppressor, as you point out, is just so arbitrary. These are people who are going about their lives lawfully. They just have a different opinion. It's extraordinary that people can dehumanise them in this way. And you're right to pick up there with Dean Withers saying he felt the need to say he's a bad person. Well, we all know that Charlie Kirk was not a bad person. He's just someone Dean Withers disagreed with. Let me show you a little bit of what Megyn Kelly had to say. Of course, the same political ideology as Charlie Kirk, and have a look at what she had to say.
You can't persuade these lunatics who are online celebrating that Charlie's dead to be kind. Save it, Utah governor. You can't. All right, just stop. It's like these people need to be defeated, not reasoned with.
Is she right there? We can't reason with these people. Is it too late? I mean, universities, colleges, for example, should be the very essence of the contest of ideas. And when you talk about Western civilization is nothing without the respectful contest of ideas, the ability to agree to disagree.
Yeah, and that's essentially what liberal democracies are. Dissent is the cornerstone of democracy. But I think where the mindset has been so altered, it's altered to the point that, people will say, people even who are sort of trying to get on board with what I'm trying to express to them, they will say, but I hear you that we shouldn't be killing these people, but what should we do about people who are causing harm, right? So you start with this idea of words that cause harm. You start with whatever it is that a person said, and then some action that happens, right? Say something to do with a war in Israel or whatever it is. You start with some words and then you start with some action, you end with some action, and then you create a pipeline, some invisible pipeline between someone's words and some faraway consequence. And you decide that this person has caused this consequence in some universe where it's not even possible, right? But they say to me, well, what do we do about people who are causing harm with their words? And it's so astounding to me that the question even comes up, because it's just, if you don't like the idea, you want to kill the person, but it never occurred to you to kill the idea. Exactly. It never occurred to you to challenge the idea that you don't like, because that isn't even the mindset that we have anymore. And when I express this to people, they're like, oh, yeah, that's so right. Why didn't I think about that? Exactly. Why didn't you think about that? Because that's not the way that you've been taught to think anymore. The way that you've been taught to think is that if you don't like ideas, eliminate the person that's expressing them. And that is how far we've gone from our values as a liberal democracy, which proves everything that we've been saying for the past 2 years, which is that the war against the West, which is targeting our values, is truly winning at this point.
It's so depressing. You're spot on there, Elika. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.